part of what the masters above, the laws above us, and the cosmos have ordained and established in the earth for us now to come out of our curses that was placed on our ancestors by doing things that wasn't balanced in the eyes of the cosmos to each other. And now this was an in-house problem. If you go back and read the history, and you can see how this happened. It was no foreign people conquered us. It's just that every time we submitted to private dynasties coming here and taking over, we just joined on to the instead of resisting or instead of putting up a fight, we sort of like signed on against our brothers and sisters of different clans and tribes and let the foreigners have their way. We now at a point right now in time in the dispensation, this is it. We're going to do something, and we got the power of the cosmos behind us. Even if that power have to descend and walk among us in a bodily form, it's going to be done. That's how confident I am.
All right, good thing, good brother. I know you mentioned the Moors a couple times while you were talking. What is a Moor? There's a lot of people out there that they're unfamiliar with the term.
Well, when you deal with a Moor, you're dealing with what you call melon, and melon is one of the precious things in the universe. When it's dealing with the cosmos, it's broken down as what they call it. Oh man, what do you call it? Carbon. When you're dealing with the cosmos, when you're dealing in nature, you're dealing with melon. You're dealing with like coal, richness, shiny, ruddy. I mean, it gleams, it shines. It's the core. It's the most potent of the core of the earth, and the cosmos is the carbon, meaning that it's dealing with divinity and spirit. Now, the reason why everybody's get mad with more, they can't give a proper definition of more. I'm going to give it of the first genes of the earth. That was a replica of the first genes of the earth. All that came from that is a more, because let me go even deeper than that. Now you notice, and when you hear the story of the prophets, right? You notice they talk about the Lord, the celestial realm. They say he had a body. He never said female, male. They said body shape. They say his body like burnt brass in the furnace, and his hair like wood. So we're looking at the core, the carbon, the burntness, the burntness. So we're talking about that first in the cosmos. When we come to the earth, when it came down to form something out of earth, it got the best out of what was in it, which was burnt like copper. And that's what a Moor is. Anyone of the DNA of that DNA with that copper burnt skin. So we got us all over. And another thing we arguing about the Africa, the name of the world. When the world was called Ikabilan, was all together with no water. The whole earth sat under the sun. So you hear the word Africa talking about the land sitting in the sun. That's the whole earth. The whole earth sits in the sun. So they're playing a metaphysics game with us fighting each other over these words and definitions, connotative meaning of what this means, what this school of thought, while they still in the estate, hocking it and making you servitude and sureties on the land and servitude.
Okay.
Well, let me say this. Well, today, millions of the Moors are classified as Black, Negro, colored, African American, Latino, Spanish, Puerto Rican, West Indian, and Indian. So you have many of the native Moors live in inner cities. Many of the native Aboriginal indigenous people to the land live in inner cities. And so because of the social engineering, we've been conditioned that we are descendants of people who were transported by the Portuguese, the Spaniards, the French, the English, and the Dutch from what they now call the continent of Africa to North America, Central America, South America, and the adjoining islands. Brought over shackled and chains. And the reason why that story is is perpetuated so that they can so that the Europeans can maintain control of our state. So since we're not claiming the state, it lays in abandonment. So they become guardian of our state. So it's all about maintaining control. So now they've been playing this trick of, to play that trick of sending us to Africa so that we can now voluntarily move off our state. So it's all about our state. That's what it comes down to, the classification. So as long as we do not claim our blood connection, meaning because the inherited power is in the nationality more. So by claiming to be a Moor, that's your consanguinity, your ancestry, your lineage, your pedigree, your parentage, what it does, it gives you rightful claim to our state. That's why nationality is so important, because it gives us the right to claim our state.
Okay, so with that being said, would you say that we kind of maybe hold Marcus Garvey to an esteem that maybe he don't deserve?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I'm glad you mentioned that. So what did Marcus Garvey push?
Yeah,
But first of all, Marcus Garvey was a Knights Templar. The outfit that Marcus Garvey you see in many pictures, he's in a car, or you're standing, you see the picture, that's a Knights Templar outfit. He's a member, and also he was a member of the Boule. So remember, the Knights Templar is a member of the Boule. So there you go, absolutely.
Okay, wow. So I guess that kind of leads into the topic tonight. You guys want to discuss the importance of establishing political structures in our communities?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I think that's a topic that's worth going into, actually, because of the circumstances that we're under right now.
Right. See, the reason why we're pushing that topic is in order to enforce the treaties, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship between His Imperial Majesty and the United States, 1787, the Treaty of the Lenape Treaty, 1778, between the United States and the Delaware Moors, what they call Delaware Indians, and also to come under the Jay Treaty protection between United States and Great Britain, 1795. The Ghent Treaty between the United States and Great Britain, 1814. The Day Treaty between the United States, the treaty between the Dey of Algiers and the United States, 1797. The treaty between the Bay of Tripoli of 1796, between the Bay of Tripoli and the United States, as well as a host of other treaties. In order to enforce those treaties, it must be done through government structure. The language in the treaties expressly mention that there must be government structure because it mentions government officials. So it can't be, those treaties cannot be enforced outside of government structure. What the Albions have done, is they have used United States court decisions and de facto opinions, court opinions, to color or modify the language in the treaties. By modifying or coloring, distorting the language in the various treaties, it absolves them of obligation. By classifying us as Black, Negro, colored, African American, there's no obligation on their part. Because the language.
A question for this brother Dozier.
Let me finish this point here. If you look at the treaties, there's no Black in there. There's no Black. Where's that in the treaties? Furthermore, let me say this. So you asked the question. There is no treaty between Black or England, Black or Nigeria, Black or France, Black or China, Black or the Shang Dynasty, Black or, there's no letters, there's no diplomatic letters, there was no diplomatic letters that sent, there was no Black whatever that sent ambassadors or consuls to China or France, the Netherlands, England. So where's the evidence? There is no documented evidence that some black nation ever existed. Hey, brother.
What's going on, brother? It's been a little while since we last spoke. It's good seeing you.
Oh yeah, yeah, right on, man. It's been about 4 years.
So yeah, for the people, I just got a quick question. So maybe you'll be able to tie it in and clarify some things and some, I guess, misconceptions when it comes to the Moors. So when you say the Moors, a lot of the, I guess the focus goes to Morocco. So can you explain the connection with Moors, Morocco, which is our current state now, and how they're in the relationship that there is or there isn't?
All right, Shim is going to talk about the French and Hispanic zone, the development of the French and Hispanic zone. That kingdom of Morocco is in the French and Hispanic zone, what they call Northern and North Africa. That's the kingdom of Morocco. All right, Shim, going to the French and Hispanic zone, elaborate on that. Shim?
I'm
Is he with
sorry.
us?
Forgive me. I'm here. I just had
Did you hear me?
my mic. Yeah, I heard you. I had my mic mute.
Did you hear me?
Yeah, he asked a question. I heard you about the Spanish zone. Let me get back to answering his questions. How do the Moors ties in with Morocco? Let me say something. When men and women was on the face of the earth, and they was given through their divinity the power to speak and create sound. I mean, listening, they create sound. What means speech? That's a sound. Speech. After they create a sound, a speech, they had to put a symbol to that, which became an alphabet. Now, when they created alphabet, when they separated on different parts of the world, our people being wise would name the land after either the agriculture or either after if there's a lot of mountains, and wherever the land was, they would attribute the land based on their knowledge of where they at and what they said it would be. So Morocco wasn't before the Moors for Morocco. The Moors named the land Morocco. I hope that can answer your question, brother.
But going to the go Shim.
No, I'm going to get there, but he asked a question first.
No, but no, that doesn't answer the question. It doesn't answer the question. He's asking
ask the question again, brother. Ask the question again. I'll make sure I heard it right. Ask it again, brother.
So that for the people that don't understand, when you hear Moors and the connection of the current Moors and the past Moors, that connection, and also that connection with Morocco and Moors in Morocco state.
Okay. Let me say this right here. Morocco is the land, it was considered the land in the far western hemisphere, from the top all the way to the top latitude to the bottom latitude, even coming on this side of the world. That's the ancient Morocco of the ancient tribes and clans that ruled the earth. Now, the modern Morocco, which you start hearing about now, the Kingdom of Morocco, that's just a political organization created in a zone, which is like a belt. That means it's a jurisdiction that wrapped in, that's operating and passed through in the territories, domains of Morocco. So when the French and the Spain Spain under the 1912 treaty, I think it's 1912 treaty or 1921, I believe it's 1912.
1912.
Right, 1912. Now, Great Britain has already made it clear, anytime the crown of Great Britain is involved with territorial, then automatically that goes with France and Spain automatically. That was already decided in the World Court about this dealing with treaties in Morocco. The French and Spain have had called the Spanish and French zones. Now, when they came with them zones inside the Empire of Morocco, they became now, like what you call Mexico now, that's nothing but this French zone. When the Moors was conquered by Spain, and the Moors started speaking Spanish, and the women started marrying the Albions, and you had the different shades of children. Then it came from the Mexican Africa, it became Mexico. From Moorish or Moroccan, it became Mexican. So a Mexican is nothing but a Spanish-speaking Moor that's mixed with the blood. Now, when you go down to South America in the Empire of Morocco, you still got the Spanish, the French, and Spain got a zone there. That's why you got Argentina, Brazil. These are nothing but nations that haven't been existing in the world no more than about since the early 19th century after that treaty. You notice a lot of these nations start coming up with these names: Dominican Republic, Colombia. See, they start going into the islands, and what happened? The Emperor of Morocco started giving them the authority to exercise jurisdiction in the Empire of Morocco, dealing with their subjects and commerce, and expand their commerce and build their municipal law and principalities here in the Empire of Morocco. So this is why you got the ancient Morocco, which is of the Canaanites, which is of the crossover Chaldeans, Moab, Israel, Ishmael, in the land of Chaldea, even down to the ancient Kemet, Egypt. This is why these are the ancient Moors. This is why Africa is the whole world. That was just not that part. That was Africa was sitting, the whole earth set in the sun. So what I'm saying is when you see all these, the kingdom of Morocco, that is not Morocco. That is of Morocco. This is why when you go to the IRS site and they ask you the countries, you notice when you go in there, it doesn't say the kingdom of Morocco. It still had the name under Morocco. So Morocco is just not one territory in the earth. Morocco is a host of national states and nations. But the problem is the estate. When our mothers and fathers transitioned through, they started coming in, the Moors started doing what you call nationalized in the British Rim, taking on English names. Now, they didn't get away their blood pedigree. What happened is the Moors didn't start coming back for their estate. And what happened, the reason why they didn't come back for the estate, because they start the vicious colonizing then. Then they had to do what you call a fake history to cover it up and talk about the slave trade. That wasn't a slave trade. That was y'all coming in the Moors empire, these estates and nations, taking the Moors, making them in servitude. And the Moors are doing it to each other too. And that's why you got the de facto Morocco and you got the de jure Morocco. You got to know which one they're talking about. In the treaty, they're talking about the de jure Morocco. These other Moroccos you hear about, these fantasies and opinions and school of thoughts and theories, they don't go back to positive jurisprudence and positive law. They don't go back to jurisprudence and positive law in history. They don't measure up with that. So they don't never going to say Morocco. You never going to hear, no, everybody goes, when they get an office, prestige in a college, when they get to a certain level of dealing with government, hear me out good, judges, high-class judges, representatives, congressmen, parliaments, prime minister, presidents, councils, ambassadors, they are taught, do not use Morocco. If you use Morocco, it's somebody that is dealing with law, like Noble Drew always say, go to them that know law. Ask them in an intelligent way, and they will give you an answer. The Moors that claim to be Moors are not going to the people that know law. That's why they tell them any kind of story. When you go to, if you got an ambassador representing a treaty nation, what you think will happen when you got an ambassador from Morocco that got everything in place, got all his I's and got all his T's, and talking the language in law, speaking to somebody that got law, you're going to get an intelligent answer. You'll get intelligent communication, and you'll get relationship. The problem is the Moors don't know how to do that. They keep resorting back to the Sultans. The Sultans is not Morocco. The Sultans claim to be the blood lineage of the Prophet Muhammad. They beat the Romans out here in Morocco. Maru. They beat the Moors out. They beat the Romans and they conquered the Moors. Now, let me explain what I mean. You had Moors conquering Moors before the Albans even did this. Moors was conquering Moors, selling Moors into servitude, and the Moors were selling the Albans out of Europe off of ships into North Mexico, Africa, down in Africa there. They just not teaching it in their colleges. They're not my fathers and mothers, foremothers and forefathers, so they don't supposed to be teaching me anyway. So if they teach you anything, it's to teach them to build up their culture, their prosperity, the state and history of the earth that don't exist. They'll make one up and brainwash you to psychological coercion, social engineer. That's true. When you go back and look, so that's not true. Then they turn around and grab your history in private societies and temples. They be activating that, operating on that. You understand what I'm saying, brother?
That's the answer.
I can't hear you.
That's the answer.
I can't hear you, brother.
I had go ahead.
Oh yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Hey, so from what you just said explains why.
Anybody? I can't tell it, bro. I couldn't hear him. If you want to mute your mic, I can hear you. If I got any feedback, y'all want to say anything. I don't want to just take up the whole conversation.
Yeah,
I want y'all to be able to, you know, if you have anything to say, you can say something.
Can you hear me?
But I'm telling you,
can you hear me?
They're not going to teach that. We was.
Can't hear you.
Listen to me. One of the best world-renowned DNA specialists already, and the emperors already prove it, that the fossils found down in Northwest, the east side of the world, in Africa, is the same fossils and DNA that's found here in Northwestern Mexico, Africa. You notice I never said I wasn't Africa. I said it's Africa because all the earth sit in the sun. So you can't play that game with me, telling me that Africa down there, but this not Africa, this America. I'm talking about before that was called America. Stop playing with me. The whole earth sat in the sun. When the creator poured the whole earth out of the water, the sun was on top of it. It sat in the sun. What you talking about now? You're playing a game now. Come on now.
Take your earpiece
off. Trying to keep us confused, running around here, arguing about connotative language that's not real, that's a fraud, that teach you how to write, think, and give away all your prosperity and your ancestors' estate inheritance.
Tell them to take his earpieces, take the headphones off.
Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me?
You can't hear.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna hear something. Nobles, talk to me.
Y'all can hear me?
I can hear you.
All right.
I can't hear nobody. Everybody on mute.
No.
Phone's off.
No, everybody on
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear
you. Know what you gonna say, Abdul?
I heard you. Can you hear?
Can you hear Abdul?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So what the brother was saying earlier just bring me back to the fact, is that why the British family, was it Prince Harry or somebody married to Marcos?
I'm sorry, my plug. I'm sorry, I pulled my plug out. My plug wasn't all the way in. My bad. When I was talking, I messed with hit my cord and knocked my thing halfway out.
Oh, okay.
Hey, listen, I'm for real, man. Listen, man, what they are doing is they are taking and lying and saying that they this.
Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear. Absolutely, I can hear you.
All right, good. All right.
They are lying, saying that they this, and then they would turn around and lift somebody up and make them speak against what our ancestors established for us, so the curse can come on us. Then they'll turn around and go back secretly and say, "Oh," and doing the witch. I'm gonna show you the instrument I'm talking about. You want to see it more? I'm gonna show you more. The Madonna with the black child. What is that? The Jesus with Mary. What is that? That's a Moor. You actually see a Moor? You got one. The Catholic Church know what a Moor is. They got it. They know what a Moor is. Our ancient ancestors knew what the Moors. When they went to war, when the Moors went to war, the Spanish-speaking Moors went to war against the Spaniards. When they went to war, you asked Minister Abdul, what was their flag? It was a melanated woman, a Moor with a crown on her head. Ask nobles. They took a woman with melon and put a crown on her head and went to war to fight the Spaniards in the name of that flag. Now, what that tell you right there? They still knew some of their history. Even though they wasn't speaking Chaldean or Arabic or the ancient languages, but they knew enough to know their history. That if they're going to go in battle, they got to have they got to have a symbol. And the symbol is what? The mother humanity, the mother. They're fighting for the mother. The woman represent the crown of hair, represent the sovereignty of the land. Because the land gives you life. The woman gives you life.
So is
She
that
had
why
life with her.
is that why we're dealing with a coronavirus?
Brother, let me tell you something, brother. Let me tell you something. You know what I told the brother? He
that
kept on
on us?
talking. Let me tell you what he did. Let me tell you what I just got finished telling the man. I said, once you go open your second floor window, just fall out. You come out better. Leaving that lie. Listen, man, they're going to what you call, they're going to restructure now. This is real serious. They already been using our symbol on the eagle with the arrows and the shield. That's the E.N.T Moors flag. That's their symbol. Then they're using the pyramid, the ancient symbol of Morocco, the empire. So what they're doing is because the state has not been claimed by the heirs of the caliphs, the sharifs, the days, the beys, the Moorish estates, the Moorish leaders, and because the Sultan was a foreign leader, he was a Moor, but he was a foreign Moor from the other side of the war that conquered the Moors here. Now, let's see what I mean. When the Sultan's power dissolved, means there's no more Sultan power. That power is reserved only to the Moorish pedigree, no one else. There's no more sultans. So we got to create a sultan. Know what that is? An international constitution that operates with all our thoughts, judgments, liens against who? Against any public official representing any structure we create for him to operate on our behalf to preserve our right. We write against him liens and judgments.
Okay, let me hold up. Let me ask you this. Who are we writing these liens and judgments to? It seemed like, okay, you have to, even if you're right, you got to have some kind of physical defense or to the aggression that you're going to receive, because no one's just going to give something up because you're right or you got the paperwork. Then they're going to say, okay, now let's fight.
Now watch this. I'm gonna explain to you what I mean. You didn't understand what I mean. When I said, see, when we come together, we got to start among ourselves. The inherent power of self-autonomy, self-determination is in us. It can't be given to us for no foreign leader. We the blood pedigree. The only thing about it, you have to claim it. Let me explain what I mean. It don't take you long if somebody send you a piece of mail, call you on the phone, and tell you had a rich uncle that has $6 billion and he only got 6 people living, and you one of them people. How long it take for you to get down there and try to claim that money? How long?
But what I'm saying is,
now I'm showing you something, Nobles. How long?
With the people handling the records and paperwork, I probably would have never been informed that I had to miss 6 months.
No. Regardless of how it is, it's still, I'm trying to show you something. It still go back to a train. That's a chain of something that led to you. If he tell you that, what gives you the right now? What gives you the right to get that money? Not claiming it or claiming it? Who inherit power? Once you know that that's your uncle and you one of the ones that receive the estate, what gives you the right to claim that? After you know,
in the blood,
simply making a claim. You know, brother, simply making a claim. So what the Moors ain't doing is they're not making a claim to any blood pedigree. They're accepting titles and names to disenfranchise them. Meaning that what benefit do you got if somebody telling you that you a nigger, black and colored, that your forefathers and mother came from a different part of the world? What right do they have and to tell you that, and what right do you have to accept that? You know what it all comes down to? Voluntarily. They just say it. They don't make you trust it and hope in it and believe it and confidence in it. You just take it in for face value that they telling you the truth. You see what it comes down to now? Inherit. You the Lord and your spirit in your body, the soul. Your body's the agent. You accept that. That's why you get led away in servitude as a surety. That's how they get us. Just by you accepting something. You got a right to claim something. Let me explain what I mean. When I said liens of judgment, I was talking among ourselves. Anytime we come together to get our land back and claim our states and do our political structure and political organization and civics, we have to create an international document among ourselves. In that document, you will put the articles, which will be the judgments, and you will put the liens. That's restrictions, obligations, and liability against the structure that you're building. Anybody come to operate the structure as a minister, a representative, a caliph, whatever you call him, he will be confound to the sovereign power of the people collectively, not as private societies or temples, as the nationals under blood pedigree who put together that national instrument. And guess what? Now they got in there where you cannot run. I'm gonna show you another thing. I was telling nobles today about the Constitution. It was not put together by the free common people. It was put together by the crown, which is statutory. By the esquires, which is statutory crown. The Bar Association put that together. The reason why they put the rights of the common people in there, because they had to use them. They had a right under the common law, which is the our law, but under the common English law, French and Spanish law, they had certain rights embodied that was granted to them by the Pope, the ambassador, the Pope, Pope. Yes, they wrote to the Catholic Church so they can go ahead and crown, so they can get leeway to do government. They have a charter for that.
Before you go on that tangent, you got to get back to Brother Rashawn's question. He said, we established the government, right, amongst ourselves, and we go in there with our proper documentation, and we 100% correct in our approach and in the judgment. And then they agree, you're right. And then they say, fight me for it. Then what?
Now, see, let me say something to you. See, in war, the book of Art of War, that's why you got plans and strategy. This is why you got personal separation, and this is why you got what is the power force that you go to, but gives all the strength to everything. Let me explain something to you. You know what the first victory in war is with them? Our seeding. We seed to everything they do, number one. Number two, we give all our energy over to them to make them strong. Number three, we don't have no personal unity among ourselves to have trust and accept ourselves. Let me give you a prime example. The queen and the king and the prince of England, France, Spain, Irish, Dutch, down in Africa. The reason why they are considered that, not because foreigners accept them or recognize them, it's because the people of the blood pedigree and common people accept that for value and have confidence in that is the most important person in our land. Now you see, that's a self-inherent right. Ain't nobody warned against them. So when you got somebody, when you're doing something like that, and somebody go to war against you, now let me explain something to you what happens. Everybody that you ever signed an agreement with, renege on your agreement with you now. They don't trust you now because you become a threat to them. Let me explain what I mean. If we got 5 nations on the same continent, and I see you turn on 2 agreements or 2 nations, and there's 3 of us on here, let's come together and get rid of them. They're not honored. They don't honor contract. There's just no true honor contract in them. So that's what the Hague was created for. Now, most people don't know why that World Court was created. It's because all the nations will come together and would team up against what you call a bully, who's now trying not to operate based on de jure principles of law, land, air, water, ordinance, statutes, commandments, dominion. They're not operating on that. So what they're doing, they're operating de facto. They're trying to usurp authority and place themselves in a seat of authority that doesn't exist, that was never given to them. So they came together and formed the Hague, the World Court. Now somebody say, now you see Venezuela, they try to plot against them. It failed. You don't hear no more about it. It failed. You want me to tell you what happened? Because Venezuela got what? A structure, a system. You know what they say? Come on, China, Russia, come and be our allies. Come in here, be my friend. No, we can't do that. You know what we want to do? We don't, see, let me explain something to you. When Noble Drew Ali went to the Pan Am Union, he only went there to get recognized. He didn't go there for no permission for manhood, for our people. He just went there so we can be recognized who we are, not black, nigger, color, and who these people are, the original blood pedigrees of the states. Now, he gave them a proclamation, so now they know. He told them, he spoke it to them, and now they know. He gave them a proclamation, now they know. Then he came back inside, got the bill of structure now. So that's what's supposed to be done. The problem is they got us so much in fear that the people don't even want to go that far to do that because they in submission. They scared something going to happen to them. And I'm going to tell you, you look at any government now operating, at least I got to give them property because the people are at least holding on to the ancient principles of the land. You know, they got a right to fish their land, their water, their crops, their livestock, their vegetables, their metal, their oil, their gas. They got a right to that. They take care of themselves. They invest it to back their money system, their commerce. They bought it right to their own platform. There's two platforms. There's a natural platform that the stuff come off the ship, the fish, and that the stuff come off the land and get traded in water. It get put on foreign ships and it travel back for a value. Now, there's you call a platform trading without the real substance. Is trade on paper, profitation. So that gets traded. So there's two platforms. So what we need to do is get there. Just get there and know who we are and say, hey, this is who we are. You go our flag, you go our national constitution. We're a host of our more states. Now, when you do that, all the other nations now that don't have a treaty with you can enter treaty with you. And what do you treaty nations do as alliance? They support one another in safeguard, protection, and in commerce. We, on the other hand, don't know how to do this. Even some of these African nations still got that much sense to bring in China and Russia in there and do business with them, get a military base and come and train their soldiers and have their military. We ain't trying to do nothing. We think something going to happen to us. Well, how you going to protect your woman, your offspring, your water, your air? How you going to protect your land? How you going to feed your people for the crops, the livestock, the birds, the fish, the water, what you need for life, minerals, copper, iron. You need all that stuff. How you going to get all that? This is why it got to be done. There can't be no second thought of what, no, I don't care. They have an in-house among themselves fighting right now. They the one who created that problem. The corporation no longer can pay them debts. So here we are every day using promissory notes, and we merchants, and they give us immunity because they don't lock us up. We ain't got license. You go to the bank every day and sign a check. You're a merchant. You taking promissory notes, giving them to the store person, you trading and bartering. You got a commercial instrument which is express media note. Express short-term note. Some call media long-term notes. That's a promissory note, the $100 bill, 1,000, 50, 20. You're using it every day, and you're the assigner and assignee. You sign it over to somebody else without even a contract. That's merchant law. You doing merchant. He's going to think about it. That paper is worth nothing. You handing somebody a fraud for something real, but it's all right to you because you don't know what's going on. That's why we curse, because our prophets told us don't do that kind of bartering. That's a fraud. That's why you got to come back into the system and get back into the old Moors named peso and all these other money systems deal with platinum, gold, silver, copper, iron, brass, livestock, frankincense, everything that's deal with nature backs that currency, that system of bartering.
Well, if you going you saying that the paper ain't worth nothing?
Brother, let me explain something to you. What's back in the paper? What the confidence of the people? What's worth? What's worth?
I'm in disagreement with you on that. But
okay, what is worth, brother? What is worth?
Since it's not worth anything, wouldn't it make sense for us to use that paper that's not worth nothing to go get those minerals that you're saying that's back in other currencies?
Brother, let me go deeper with so you can understand. I didn't think I had to go that deep. I'm glad you asked that question. Let me explain to you. Every time you take that promissory note and uses it, there's an interest on that. That means you're buying something with something that's not valued. That means you promised to pay. That's why it's called a promissory note. So you promising to pay, what are you paying with? Every time you use it, and you don't even have power to redeem the notes. You got to watch this. You take all these notes back to a bank and they laugh at you. They take it and cluster them together and put them on a trade platform and they redeem the notes as commercial paper and they sell it and get paid for it. And then you turn around and ask for fresh debt instruments, fresh promissory notes to go right back in debt so you never redeem the note. You never pay the debt. So now because you use the note, and you're not paying, discharging no debt, that's because you don't own no loaded entitled land. If you don't own no loaded entitled land, you don't own no minerals in the land, the precious metals, the minerals, the resources. You don't own the water. You can't control the water. You got to got permission to fish or to sell on it. Then you got permission how much air you can travel in the air. When I'm showing you that you're not discharging nothing, you just a surety. They're using you like cattle. That's what they're doing. Because you're not a sovereign. You're nothing to matter. You're not nothing to matter to them. You're not even operating in the science of law, because real established jurisprudence and positive law, even spiritual law, creeds, does not authorize anyone to exchange commerce like that. That's a fraud. That's a fraud.
Do you see what I'm saying?
No, I see what you're saying, but I'm telling you that's a fraud. Because I'm gonna tell you why. When you go in the store and get somebody, I'm gonna show you what I mean. Let's say you go and work at somebody's house for $20,000, and they give you $20,000 in promissory notes. Now watch this. Let's stick with the language, man. Let's stick with the verbiage. What is that he giving you? What do it say? What does that piece of paper say? What did he give you?
What do it say? Let me grab
What do it say?
Let me tell you 1 second.
And why he's going to grab his promissory note.
There you go, brother.
with everything that has been said thus far, and it's been a lot. It's been a lot. I've been trying to take it all in. Would it be fair to say that one of the first things that we must do as a melanated people is to learn the language?
Yes.
That a lot of these treaties has been rewritten into, or written into, whichever would be the correct way of saying it, to bamboozle us, to trick us into giving up or relinquishing our rights, or what is or has been always rightfully ours. Once we learn that language in the way that they have written it, and then we also study the, correct me, I always pronounce the word wrong, I think, etymology or etymology of the words.
Etymology, yes.
Etymology of the words that they use to write, to create these treaties to bamboozle us. Once we learn that, would it be fair to say that that would be, if not the first step, one of the first steps to get
the first step is
on the right path?
The first step is, let me correct you on one thing. This is why they don't teach you about the treaties, because the treaties give you the power. I want you, anytime you see they hide this in school and they don't teach this in the public colleges, that means that's the power. That is the thing that can free you. Now, the next step is we got to direct your mind so you don't look to that direction. Them people that would sign them treaties, them people called the Moors of State, we got to direct your mind and make you think that you have absolutely nothing to do with them people and blood pedigree. So that's called cutting the cord. Let me explain what I mean. Let's say your wife is pregnant with triplets inside of you. They don't never want the child to get pushed forth to start maturing, so they cut the child right from the belly, the womb. This is what they're doing to us. They cut you right from the core before you get mature into the signs of culture, piety, and deity. They are coming now, pre-castrating you while you are a child, while you are an infant, so you'll remain an infant. You remain a ward, depending on the state, a vagabond. I need some rights. I need some money. I need to work. Then you'll turn around will be what you call the next thing is a minor, no factor, don't mean nothing, not unimportant, not important. Go ahead, brother.
Oh yeah, back to the promissory note. You ready?
Yes. No. You got to read it to me. You just said what it was. That's all I wanted to hear. We ain't got to go no further, brother. See, one thing I learned about language, when you know something is what it is, don't push after that. Deal with it right now, what it is. What is that you got in your hand? What is it?
A note.
I can't hear you, brother.
A note.
No. Say it right, bro. It's a note. What? A note? When you write somebody, brother, when you're using a note, brother, listen to me. You must not know the barter system of exchange. If you got a car worth $10,000, I don't have no money. You knew your work. You need your roof fixed and your basement refinished. And then after that, you need your kitchen done. 35 downstairs, 25 here, and the kitchen finish up $10,000. When I sign an agreement with you, and you exchange to give me the car, and I exchange to take my tools and stuff, my wood, and buy it, and fix your house and do your roof in your basement. That is the barter system. If you got a car and I've got a grocery store and I get stuff into wholesale, and you see, you know what, Dad, you got a lot of water, you got this, I got a warehouse to put this stuff, I need this. We start doing bartering. You know what that's called? That's called real substance. Meaning that it's for necessity. You use it in life. When you take a piece of paper and say it's worth value and there's nothing backing it, to me, it doesn't say it's backed by gold and silver. It just says, in God we trust. Now, when it says God we trust, it said this note. So that means that note means that there's it's something that you're using. You need something, so you're exchanging that and you promising to pay it back. But you never did. So when that happens, the guardian, because you don't have any status, the guardian, the trustee, which is the United States, the trustee steps in and say the beneficiary, which is an infant, a ward, or a minor, can't do anything. And we taking care of this ward minor, and now the debt got so high, they step in now and do what you call reorganize, chapter 13, they call it, or they do chapter 7, discharge the debt, or they do chapter 11, liquidation. Now, let me explain something to you. When you're using them, and they get so big that they become unredeemable, because I told you what they call express or either immediate short-term notes, meaning that they switch around so much. That's why when you give them back to the bank, they never give you back that kind of money back. They give you brand new notes back, brand new obligations, restrictions, debt, liability, all over again. It piles all the way up. Now, because we've been letting them buy, eat, sell, sleep, build, and do all this on consignment without paying, we want to call in the note, because they the mortgagee, they the lender, you the borrower, the debtor. Now the debtor, we want to do liquidation now. So you can't pay them because you don't have a status over the land or nothing. You don't have any real substance. You don't have no title to land, gold, silver, animals, or grow the food, or fish, and nothing, crops. So what they do is liquidation. They come in now and say, hey, we got to put you in jail. We got to cash you out, do insurance policy, get rid of you to pay this debt. They got to come in and restructure your communities and take away your basis law zoo rights you got and put you, now you start recognizing you in the zoo now because you don't have any rights. You never paid. Now they're going to make you pay. They're in liquidation now. They come in for your body because that's a surety. You offer yourself up and agree to be using that promissory note by express and adhesive contract by performance. That's called a performance contract. You agree by using that, not giving nothing of real substance, that now the government can compel you to pay that back. You can't, so they come and liquidate now. They come and take the little rights you got, and they tell you this and that. Now you ain't got nothing. Then if you can't do that, they put you in service to lock you up, make laws to lock you up. That's why they make the laws and stuff as enforcement officers. They force the military law to put you in jail, or you go in a hospital, they got to give you medication to make you pay. This is the way they make you pay back. Taking bad medication, wrong, bad food, because they don't want you around longer. Keep using the promissory note and keep using it and not being able to discharge the debt. So they got to get something back at you, so they make you work on a modern colonization, what they call work structures and systems. And now you see what's going on now? You see why you got to separate, personally separate, and you got to plan your strategy?
Let me chime in and ask a quick question. If, for example, Brother Dozier went into debt because he didn't have anything of value to pay to pay back or pay down his debt, if he owned, I don't know, 1 or 2 homes and some land, and they come in and bring him to court and say, hey, you don't have anything of value to pay this debt back, so now we're gonna take you and put you in jail, like you just got through explaining, if I'm following you correctly. But if he did have land, a few pieces of property, however big it may be, one acre or 100 acres, 700 acres, whatever it may be, several of them, and several homes and a business, My question is, would they come in and take that or go for that before they go for him himself?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you know why? You don't own that. By the way, you don't never own nothing. What it is, you just have an interest in it. You just have a secure interest in it. That's all it's called. You have an interest in it because they allow you to become the grantor and the grantee. See, you're not a settler or a truster or exchanger. You're not a signee. You're not a vendee or vendor. That's why I don't use these terms. You're not a beller or belly. They don't use these terms because these terms are used for people that's operating owning real estates.
Okay, so
you understand what I'm saying? So the reason why they would take what he was granted because it's not his anyway. You understand what I mean? They could never take a Moorish estate with a loading title, a treaty, a deed by treaty, even if he contracted that because if you read the 1856 treaty, it made it clear that you cannot take a Moorish estate or based on a promissory note or pledged lend. That's also in the British dominion. If a Moor is residing and doing business with property, you cannot take his property for any debt, taxes. Listen, the Moors was not stupid when they did contract. Read that treaty. Send them to Abdul, 1856. It's the only treaty that I read that got almost 40-some pages that tell it all out.
Okay, I think I have two quick questions for you. Oh man, I forgot one of my questions. You be going, I'll be trying. All right, so okay, I got it. You said he never owned the properties at all from the beginning, from the get-go. He's not the rightful owner of it. So with that being
send him the case, Abdul. Send him the case, Abdul. They can read for himself.
If he's not the rightful owner of it, even though he's paying taxes or whatever he got to do, maintaining it, the whole nine, and he never owned it, and they own it from the get-go, then why would I'm not really like understanding. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just trying to grasp an understanding of what you're saying.
I'm explaining to you. It's a colorable title. Colorable law.
He's going around thinking, I'm going around thinking I own this land, this property. But
that's an illusion. That's a fraud. They created that de facto illusion.
I'm just trying to interpret it back to you, see if I'm following what you're saying. I own this land. Something come up to where I have to pay back. I got in trouble, whatever the case may be. Instead of them taking me and put me in prison, they're not going to do that because I have this property. But they're taking from me, supposedly, the illusion, what they already own. But technically speaking, are you saying with the 1856 treaty, if I am a Moor, technically they cannot take it because that treaty has already been established in 1856.
That's right. Establish you as the descendants and offsprings and kinsmanship of them people. Therefore, that treaty applies to you because them people back then were sovereign, meaning sovereign mean in their blood pedigree and ownership of their estates. So that means now when they go to operate the law, they got to apply the law of nations. So you come from the nation, the most favored nation. The crowns are foreign. You are not foreign. That's why the treaty say within the British realm. That means a Moor could be in Australia, Canada, United Kingdom. Doesn't make a difference. You own land. That treaty operates to protect him in his blood pedigree right. Now they can't take the property. They can't even lock you up. Do you know that? They can't even put you in arrest.
No, but they do. They got me in prison. I'm in prison right now. I'm in jail.
You know why? Because the United States have assumed.
I'm in jail without the bill.
Listen to me.
So is that because I have no understanding of the law or the treaty, 1856 treaty?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, I'm following you.
And not only you, brother, that's a lot of Moors collectively. If they don't come together, you can't do nothing. Because that's how the empire survived with the Moors nation stuck together. But what happened was they got divided, they started selling off their own people, bringing in all these foreigners. Listen, it's no way in the world all these Albions would come off the ship with all these diseases and robbers and clear the jails unless the Moors allowed them to make that voyage and do it. The Moors got something from that. You know what they got from it? To bring them here so they can work these estates like servants. See, they're not teaching this, man.
Okay. I'm following you.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
No
I
problem
hope
at
the
all.
next time, we speak, we show you that the stamp letter we got in our executive order hit by the ambassador of the treaty nation. I'm hoping that's coming soon. Y'all really can smile, brother. We're on our way doing something.
Oh, okay.
Brother Mossy Bay, what's going on, man?
All right.
Wake up, bro.
I'm here. I'm listening. I'm following. I've been following, and like I said, he and Spot and I have been working together for 10.5 months. Definitely, I'm definitely well in tune. Any other questions?
As far as like this coronavirus, this thing with the government shutting down.
Bankruptcy, brother. International bankruptcy. They got to do it this way. If they don't, put it this way. Would you want to see men and women running to the street, dragging girls in the street, raping 12-year-old girls because they can't get no reefer, they can't get no bear, and they can't do what they want? This is what happened. I'm telling you, listen to me. They thought this through. The virus is only a security check. The brain, to keep the people spread apart and separated from each other, and not trying to depend on themselves and get anguish, depend on the government. So if they wouldn't have it and just say, you know what, just shut everything down. What do you think would happen? If you see what happened down Katrina with that flood, you better get your rifle in your hand, your gun, your 12 or 9 shooter, because rest assured, when these guys get up in heat and want food and stuff, if they can't get no food, no bed, no drugs, they want a war mind. Anything goes. So we've been doing this among ourselves, because a lot of our brothers sick. They're mental. They have a mental problem. So you got to look at this corona is an operation. They liquidating, but at the same time they got the plan how they going to do it. Don't need nobody in the street with guns and stuff fighting on the street, shooting and stuff. The police ain't safe. The police will say, they can't use the police. So they got to have it where as though they get the police, which is their military. They already got the military here, the law enforcement officers and the sheriff. They automatically become part of the District of Columbia because they use the money. They got their pensions. They got their 401ks. They're going to fall and they drag their mother to the house. Some of these jokers so weak, they drag their own mother to the house. Watch their mother get dragged out. They said, damn, they broke my mom's leg. Damn, Harry, you had to drag it out hard. You broke her leg. He castrated. He ain't know nothing. That's how bad we are. That's how bad a lot of our people are, man. Damn, you pulled my mom at the house and broke her leg. Damn, you could have been a little more gentle. That mom, calm down. This is how it is. You see how castrated it is? You don't castrate the men. They can't feel no affection for a woman. That means you can't feel affections of your foremothers and forefathers, how they dealt with the land and left for you your inheritance. You ain't got no conscience of that. They castrated you. You ain't good for nothing. That's why they do you like that, and then turn around and tired of using you. They're either gonna tell you to kill yourself, or you wind up in a hospital house, they killing you. See, that's your reward for doing this stuff.
So, okay, let me ask you this. What's your, I mean, because it seemed like we all know that all Albion ain't.
Hold up. My thing came out.
There was some.
Yeah,
hold on for a minute. Hold on. What'd you say?
Okay, like, what's your perspective on Donald Trump? Like, what was he inserted into this program for? Like, what's his? I mean, because some things he say, the way he said is crazy, but some stuff he say, I can't argue with.
Well, Donald Trump come from a royal family. Don't get it messed up. He ain't going to become president unless he part of that tree of that society. So he can say and do things. The only thing about it, when it become a problem in the temple and on the societies, they handle that without letting the public know that. See, they handle their business without the public knowing that. They handle it in-house. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So you see how they do? They handle things in-house, but at the same time, they try to air our laundry out in the street in the public to make us look bad before the world.
So what are you, our two guests? This question directly.
How much time do you got? Let me use the bathroom, Nobles. Give me a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, we probably gonna go for about another 15 minutes.
Okay.
And that'll be an hour and a half.
Yeah. So, in regard to the coronavirus, COVID-19, well, to our guests, what is your thoughts on the bailout? The bailout from the government, the monies that's supposed to go to the people, and the monies that's supposed to go to these Fortune 500 companies, multi-billion-dollar companies.
Well, what they're doing is they're actually dealing with a rearrangement there, because the debt ceiling is so high. So they had to come up with this scheme, all right, to address the debt ceiling. The United States, if you look at the research, you'll see that the United States debt has owed a lot of debt to China, with the highest debt being to China and other countries, Germany, Switzerland, other countries. So this is an issue that they've been dealing with for quite some time. So this COVID issue deals with addressing that in a way that is covert, to not make it obvious. And a lot of things they do is to do that. They will actually create a scenario to get our minds off of what the real issue is, right?
Yeah.
So this is another way on which they're doing that.
So, my next question, with the COVID-19 virus itself, in your opinion, do you think it's as bad as they're making it out to be, or is it like you just explained? Are they using it as a smoking screen?
Smoking screen. Now let's look at it let's look at the statistics dealing with influenza. You have 100,000 people that die from influenza every year. This is something that's been, for the past 10 years, 100,000 people have died from influenza. Okay. So they're making this issue of this COVID of, I mean, how many people have died from the COVID so far? I mean, and people have died every year from no big deal has not been made for influenza for the past 10 years. Why not? Why not? 100,000 people die every year. So that's something to think about.
I'm gonna take a stab at your question. Could the answer be the why not? Could it be because the ceiling debt hadn't reached the height that it is now, so it wasn't important at that particular time, last year or the year before that or previous years, to come in with this to cause hysteria, so to distract us from what they are
absolutely. Yes. Okay. Yes. That's absolutely. That's a good point.
Okay.
The coronavirus, according to top biologists, is impossible. The coronavirus is just a mind. I consider as a mind putting out something in the air, like thoughts for you to hear. You know, hearing things also can give you an infection, can give you what you call a disease.
I can't hear.
He muted himself.
Yeah.
Sham.
Bro, you muted yourself.
Ah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you good now.
Hear me?
Yeah, you have muted yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yourself.
Yeah, yes. We can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Start again.
I'll take it out. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, y'all can hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
See, mosquito bites is the #1 killer in the whole country, around the world, mosquito bites. Now, why ain't they ringing the flag and saying quarantine to kill these mosquitoes. 30,000 people die from the flu each year. Why is that not an epidemic?
More than
So
that,
when,
100,000.
right. So here go the thing about it. So first of all, viruses are created in your body to protect you. So what they're trying to do is they got a thing called the 5 jigs, the 7 jigs, the 8 jig. Now what that does is like you go to radiation and get an X-ray and they put that pad to protect your chest. Well, you're not protected now because the 5 or 6, 7 jig is doing what? Sending forth radiation. Now what the radiation do is destroy the good bacteria in your body. Now, when you get all that happening, what you eating and drinking, and you got that happening, now when they diagnose you with a control, what do they call it? Oh, yeah, I've been hearing that so much. When they diagnose you with this new so-called virus, let me explain. Coronavirus. When they inject you with this new so-called, you know what they're giving you? They're giving you the last
19.
They're giving you the vaccine to activate a disease in your body, whereas though you can't form no viruses in your body to defend it, because the bacteria that use to fight off diseases and create everything has been killed by the 5 jigs. So what happening is now, in order, they have to say that because they scare you, and when they scare you, they can take control. Now, I'm gonna tell you what just happened. They just crashed the stock exchange right before the people facing they're lying to them. Or the stock went down 20% today, lowest it's ever been. That's a crash. But see how the reporters talking so smooth, they don't stole. Now they stealing people 401ks. Let's say you had the 401k, 250,000. You come back and say you only got 2,000 or 1,100. They stole your money. They stealing the pensions. Matter of fact, my brother delivered down at Rittenhouse where all the billionaires and stuff is at. They had a man commit suicide. A big trader, he committed suicide. That man lost everything. So you see what happening? People losing stuff. The media just not telling you what's going on financially. They just scare you to death with a mental virus, what is a mental disease. Oh, they're gonna kill you. They're doing this. Oh, the British are coming. Oh, the soldiers are coming to come out of the corner. And you scared to death. You got a mental virus. You got a mental virus.
With that being said, do you think that this pandemic, coronavirus can last, as some reports have said, at least up until yesterday, maybe another 4, 5, 6 months? And I'm gonna wrap around to where I'm getting to. My question: do you think it could last another 4, 5, 6 months? Considering what you just said, as far as the monies is involved and the stock market, the whole 9. When I come home today from work, I have a habit to do my current events since high school. Mr. Richburg, watch the news. And I'm watching the news, and all I see is Donald Trump. Donald Trump. I start from 6 o'clock news, 6:30 news, 7 o'clock news. All I see is Donald Trump, breaking news. And to sum up in a nutshell, what he was talking about was about the stimulus package and how they're going to try to enact it, to print the checks as soon as possible. Not so much for the people, the public, but primarily for the large businesses, the multi-billion companies, the Fortune 500 companies. And they're trying to end, what I got out of it when listening, using my third ear, they're trying to cut this virus short. If it go any longer, then the stock market, all those heads, whoever you want to call them, wherever they be titled, is going to take so much money out of my 401k to where I'll be lucky to have $1, if $1 at all, times the number of people that they're doing this to, based upon what you just explained. So if they
that's called a deficit. The deficit got too high.
Won't nobody have no money, and it'll be beyond the worst stock market fall in United States history. So what I got out of it was they got to cut it short right now because they're taking too much money at one time.
You woke up. You woke up. Know what it is? You know what the coronavirus? Know what it is? It means the deficit got so high that they came up with a private strategy, a private plan, a private strategy. And with that is nothing but one thing, a story, a hypothecated story to put the people in fear. So when we do this to them and downsize government, to take the save costs and balance the bet and take away the high deficit. When we do it, they wouldn't cry because they said we saved their life. We had an epidemic. So they created an illusion. That's called an illusion they created. And make you believe that there's something going on when it's not. They can do this to these people because they're the social engineer. They can get away with it. You just said it. You know what that cutting the coronavirus is? Cutting the deficit down, shrinking the government size, controlling the money, and then turn around bailing out all the people who's in control now that can keep the people subjective. That's all it's all about. The commerce, economics.
But they don't need a bailout. You're talking about Boeing, like Trump mentioned today. You know, Boeing is going to need a bailout because of the things that they have been dealing with since last year. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. But the things that Boeing has been dealing with since last year is when they new jets started falling out the sky. What the hell that got to do with the COVID-19?
The United States government.
Why do a multi-billion-dollar company need a bailout anyway, whether it involves this time period with the COVID-19 or not? Why do the airline industry need, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry, need a bailout? How in the hell can you be a multi-billion-dollar company and you need a bailout?
The parent, you know who need a bailout first? The parent corporation, United States, corporate United States. Because all the other organizations are licensed in the United States. United States have a bank, they're a bank. So they're a corporation. So the stimulus package coming from the IMF, the private bankers. So the private bankers is giving United States this much money. United States going to take the $100 billion and place it into their treasury account and their bank, and they're going to profligate it into trillions. Listen to what I'm saying, brother. United States is going to profligate that. Then they're going to turn around, issue treasury what? Notes. So United States is going to get it first. They're going to be the first corporation because they're the parent.
So how
they're going to get it? Say it again?
How are they going to, what's the word you use? And profligate it?
Yes.
How are they going to do that? Are you
now
saying,
now I'm gonna teach you something.
Are you saying my question is, are you saying when you use that term, are you saying they're gonna take this bailout money and buy back their own stocks?
No, let me explain something to you. It's first of all, the media telling you a lie. It's not to bail them out, it's to bail the United States out. Because everything is relying on the United States as the problem. The United States go down, everything go down. Because the United States acting as trustee for the Aboriginal indigenous people. And that's the estate. You can't hock that. It's worth too much. So what the United States do is they got an organization, the UN got an organization, American States, that deal with nothing but government banks. So through that government bank, they give what you call an international routing number through the United Nations or the homeland or the organization, American States, to these parent corporations that deal with nothing but charter banks of governments. Because the United States got a routing number with that bank in the international banking system and international monetary system, when that $100 million first get issued from the Federal Reserve, watch this. The Federal Reserve is not a bank owned by the United States or not a bank owned by the Treasury. So that means when the Federal Reserve issue that, it's going directly to the United States Bank. So they got an international routing number. They can take that and profligate that. Then they can put it in their Treasury and offer it back in circulation to what? These corporations that's licensed under them. The insurance companies and the companies are licensed under the United States. That's why they got a license to do banking, to do bartering, to do trade, to the Commodities Exchange Commission. Come on, you see what's going on? So if I can get this money and profligate this, I'm not going to tell you this. And first of all, what are you doing knowing this? So all these, just like us, if we get our stuff together, and we take and recognize ourselves and tell them who we are. The fact of the matter is, the Act of Algiers, the Act to Protect Morocco, and the treaty say that these treaty nations have to help us, our national bank. Now you read the Act to Protect Morocco, it speaks about our national bank, the Moorish banks, different financial institutions in the Moorish Empire dealing with the indigenous people. Now watch this. We can go and get an international routing number as an indigenous nation, watch this, and take out outside all this and deposit our own money to the World Bank because we recognize that's the power by being recognized because you know how to find all these places, navigate to get to all these what? Shores,
So,
foreign ports.
so, because we only have maybe 2 minutes, a minute left. Are you saying, and I thank you for coming on, you shared a lot, you enlightened me a whole lot. So are you saying another one of our priorities should be get recognition?
Well, let's see, we already have it. The thing about it is they rooted out of us. The inherent power for anybody to claim their inheritance of the ancient foremothers and forefathers lies in their DNA and their what? Divinity. Now, when somebody hide that from you, then you can never do it. But once you find out, that party can rebut what you say because there's nothing giving him that authority or that nation that power to make that determination. So they're not going to do it. They're going to try to miseducate you and come up with another scam to turn y'all against each other so y'all will be hindered. They can't hinder you. That's why they never came after Noble Drew Ali. But what they did was they sent the Moors after him because they were drug sellers, running guns, selling bootleg, running prostitution. They were doing all this stuff behind his back, and they made a determination what he was doing was not important as what they were doing, getting all that money, selling heroin, running numbers, bootlegging, prostitution, gun running. Yeah, that was the Moors were doing back then. And the Sheiks. Yes, I'm telling the truth here. Sorry, I got to tell the truth.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Brother Ray, you want to take us away?
Yeah, hey, thanks for coming on, brothers. Mosey Bay, man, you know, we're gonna have to have you back, man, because
Right out my
your
mouth.
brother, your brother was passionate about this subject, so he kind of took
You
it
know,
over.
this is the first time y'all met him. Y'all, you know, you and I, we go back.
Right,
all
right.
three of y'all. All three of y'all, we go back.
Yes, sir.
This is great, man.
Yeah, man, we're gonna have to get you back up here in Cleveland, man. We need to hit it.
Oh, yeah.
We need to have you back.
Absolutely.
No.
Yeah.
No, we got to get all of you guys down here in Atlanta.
Well, that too. That's right.
Man.
That's right. You moved to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Atlanta and Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Atlanta and Cleveland. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I thanks again for coming on. I appreciate it. It's always been a good time when we get together and this to do some fellowshipping. So, you know, never been disappointed, haven't failed yet, and I ain't gonna say yet. You've never failed in doing that, and I appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for having us.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you.
Islam.
Peace. Salah, brothers. Salah. Take care.
Peace.